Throughout history, emperors have risen and fallen, shaping the fate of entire civilizations. Some were wise and just, while others, well, they left behind a legacy of chaos and absurdity. Welcome to our new series on the top 10 most absurd emperors in Chinese history. In this series, we'll count down from the 10th to the 1st, exploring the emperors whose personal behavior and major misjudgments led to turmoil. And today, we begin with number 10 on our list, Emperor Hui of Jin, Sima Zhong.
If you think being born into royalty means you're guaranteed to be a great leader, think again. Sima Zhong is a perfect example of how an unqualified emperor can turn an empire into a complete disaster.
Let's dive into the absurdity. To understand why Emperor Hui of Jin was such a disastrous ruler, we need to take a step back and look at his origins. Sima Zhong was born in 259 AD, the son of Emperor Hui of Jin, the man who founded the Western Jin Dynasty after unifying China. You'd think the son of a powerful ruler would be well prepared to govern, right?
Well, not in this case. From an early age, it was clear that Sima Zhong had severe cognitive impairments. Historical records describe him as slow-witted and unable to grasp even the most basic concepts of governance. He wasn't just lacking intelligence, he was practically incapable of independent thought.
The problem was his father, Emperor Wu, refused to acknowledge just how unfit his son was. Instead of choosing a more capable successor, he insisted that Sima Zhong would rule after him. This decision would prove to be one of the greatest mistakes in Chinese imperial history. So, what made Sima Zhong such a ridiculous ruler? Let's start with one of the most famous anecdotes about him. One day, during a time of famine, officials informed the emperor that people across the country were starving. His response?
Why don't they just eat porridge instead?
Yeah, this wasn't a joke. He genuinely didn't understand that famine meant people had no food at all, not even porridge.
This kind of cluelessness wasn't just embarrassing, it was dangerous. Since he was completely incapable of ruling, real power fell into the hands of those around him, particularly his wife, Empress Jia Nanfeng.
Now, here's where things get really messy. With Sima Zhong on the throne but mentally absent, the court became a battlefield of scheming officials and warlords, each trying to control the empire through him.
And leading the charge was Empress Jia, a ruthless and ambitious woman who ruled from behind the scenes. She eliminated political rivals left and right, imprisoning or executing anyone who threatened her power.
Eventually, her reign of terror led to a massive backlash. In 300 AD, a coalition of princes and officials staged a coup, overthrowing and killing her. You'd think this would have stabilized the empire, but no. The real nightmare was just beginning. With the emperor still on the throne but effectively useless, powerful warlords and princes began fighting over who would control the government. This led to the infamous War of the Eight Princes, a brutal civil war that devastated China.
This wasn't just political infighting, it was a full-blown disaster. Armies ravaged the land, millions died, and the Western Jin Dynasty spiraled into complete anarchy.
And where was Emperor Hui during all this? Locked away, powerless, still unaware of the chaos around him. After years of civil war, the Western Jin Dynasty was left weak and defenseless. In 311 AD, the capital, Luoyang, was sacked by the Xiongnu-led Hanzhou regime, marking the beginning of the end for the dynasty.
Sima Zhong was captured and later poisoned in 307 AD, ending his pitiful reign. His rule had directly led to one of the most chaotic periods in Chinese history, setting the stage for the devastating 16 Kingdoms era that followed.
So, why does Emperor Hui of Jin deserve a spot on our list of the most absurd emperors? Let's summarize. He was intellectually incapable of ruling, making him little more than a puppet for corrupt officials. His sheer ignorance led to disastrous policies and decisions. His rule allowed the empire to descend into civil war, setting the stage for centuries of instability.
If there's one lesson to be learned here, it's that putting an unqualified person in power, especially at the highest level, can lead to complete disaster.
And that's just number 10 on our list. Stay tuned for the next episode, where we'll dive into another unbelievably absurd emperor from China's history. Who do you think will be next? Leave your guesses in the comments.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most bizarre rulers. See you next time.